Okay, ladies and gentlemen, sorry that we've missed the opening 3 minutes of race 2. Only 13 runners and riders in this race for some reason. Some people haven't joined us for race 2. But we will jump straight in on the action. And at the front of the field we have the Mercedes of Ampio. He's already completed 2 laps and he is 1.5 seconds ahead of AJ to the P. We got GOP in P3, Antonelli in P4. Then he's having a stronger showing this time out in the Aston Martin. That's a lovely green and yellow Aston Martin, that is. Mazda in another. So we've got quite a few AMGs today in race 2. Mazda 917 in the second AMG. We've got Stefan in P6, Keshid in P7, Smith and Wesson in P8, Johnny P9, PTX Barbosa is your top 10, with Sully, Paulie and Hater bringing up the rear in the BMW. It's nice when we get a variety of cars in a race. It's nice to not always see a Porsche or an Audi winning the race. And we've got 3 different cars in the 3 podium positions. Mercedes, closely followed by Bentley, closely followed by Lamborghini. Lamborghinis are strong around here. They've got good straight line speed. And you'll notice that's a factor in all of these races around Bathurst because of the long straights. All the Mercedes, Bentleys, Lamborghinis and Audis are very, very fast cars on the straights. But Ampio is pulling a bit of a gap now, 1.82 AJ to the P. He's running the new 2020 livery then. Very in nice. That Bentley machine it is indeed.
Oh, in the background, look like is it
Antonelli?
Antonelli, yeah.
Oh, he's gone straight on into the gravel. Wow.
And he was saying.
Oh, is he kept? Oh, that's a wow, that's crash. A big crash. Wow. Yeah. He's not even pitting. Going. Yeah, he hasn't even bothered pitting. Wow.
Wow.
That could have been a disaster for GOP and Mazda. He could have swiped one of them out pretty easily.
Oh yeah.
He must have sustained some damage in
sure
that Aston. Oh, he's off again. Yeah, he's definitely got some steering issues there. Into the wall. Wow.
No.
Oh, we got to come together.
Yeah. He's got to stop and he can't be doing that.
I think that was unavoidable then. He was on the grass. He had no control of that car then.
Yeah, he's done the good old grass ride.
Yep, he's gone back to the pits then. As we pick up the race leader, Ampio, he's 2.2 seconds ahead of AJ to the P then. AJ to the P finished P2 in last week's race. He's running P2 in this week's race. He finished P2 to Militant 95 last week in the Audi. And he's got the Mercedes in front of him today. I have always loved the Mercedes in this game. It was my my go-to car to begin with, but it just didn't get on with my driving style, and I had to abandon ship straight away. It's one of those cars you can either make work or you just cannot drive it whatsoever. And it's really affected by the bop in this game. So it's either really good at certain tracks like Suzuka and Bathurst, or it's just completely off the pace. So you've really got to be selective with the Mercedes. Where the Bentley, AJ to the P, the Bentley's well rounded at every single track.
Yeah.
And you got GOP in the Lamborghini then, 4.8 seconds down on AJ, but is holding the podium position. 1.3 seconds further behind is the next Mercedes. So we look to the top 5. The top 5 are all power cars. They've all got that top speed, and they're really benefiting from it today.
I think so, yeah.
Race 1 did see the Porsche and Ferrari struggle, and they're at the back of the field again in race 2 as we ride on board with Smith and Wesson. He's in the 911 Porsche, the lead Porsche.
A lovely livery on that as well, the blue and pink, or pink and blue. Very nice.
I am partial to a bit of pink in my liveries. So Cashid's in the pits. He obviously had that coming together with Antonelli at the on the last lap. Unavoidable. Yeah, I think it was just unavoidable.
Certainly was.
But he's obviously made hopefully his mandatory pits.
Yeah.
Pit stop. He's pitted for repairs, but his pit box hasn't gone green.
Yeah.
He's exited the pits and it hasn't gone green, so he hasn't.
Still hasn't gone green, yeah.
You'll still need to refuel or change tyres then.
Something, yeah. Battle to watch, I think, is Mazda battling for third. So fourth and third battling.
We'll ride on board with Mazda then in the 888 Mercedes.
Very nice livery. Another pink and blue.
It is, yeah. And I think Stefan just behind's got a bit of pink and blue in his Audi as well.
Brilliant.
He's breathing down the neck of the Lamborghini now.
Oh yeah. You sure they're not? Are they teammates? The Merc and the Porsche?
No, I don't. No. Why are you saying that?
That's crazy. Because that livery is exactly the same.
Oh right, I see what you mean. Sorry, no, I don't think so. They haven't let on that they're teammates, but yeah, they could be.
I mean, that's one way of showing that your teammates, I guess, the same livery.
But Mazda, he clips the wall. Oh,
he did, didn't he?
He keeps it
back. Was it the
he
back
did,
axle?
Yeah.
Unfortunate that.
So he has just lost a bit of time then to GOP in that P3 slot.
Do you know what is different about this track compared to other tracks that are tight, such as like Monaco, in the F1 and stuff like that? Is that with those tracks you want to keep close to the wall, and this one I'm sure you just want to avoid it.
Wow.
Keep on the track, survive.
Yeah, that's it. I mean, there's so much undulation and change of he's back in the wall, Mazda. He's obviously got damage. Yep, he's got steering damage there. He slowed right down. He's got damage to his front end. So his charge for P3 is going to be over. It looks like he's going to have to pit then from that P4 slot in the 888 machine. He's got Stefan closing rapidly on him. And he has certainly passed him for that P4 slot.
Certainly struggling to drive that Merc into the pits, let alone around the track, so I'm not surprised he's pitted.
Yep, you can see that bonnet's all out of shape on the front end of that car. So that's going to be at least a minute in the pits then for Mazda 917 in the Mercedes. He was having a strong run up into P4. But once again the walls claim another victim. Yeah, as I was saying, there's a lot of there's parts of this track that you've got to be really careful with under braking, because it can really unsettle a car. There's a lot of bumps and dips and undulations and parts of the track that can just really catch you out if you're not too careful. And like we just seen from race 1, it's not about outright speed. As long as you can keep it on the tarmac, you're in with a chance for the race win. as we ride on board with Stefan then. Who's currently P4. He's benefited from Mazda's 917 mistake. He's in your 29 machine in the Audi. 46 minutes remaining in the race. We have got a fast track then. It's not an optimum track, so times can't be as fast as they could be. Track temperature is at 17 degrees. It is obviously winter. They're coming out of winter in Australia right now. So temperatures and track conditions won't be as hot or as optimum as they could be. But the rest of the field are pretty spread out then. You got Johnny in P6. He's the lone McLaren rider today. You can tell he's been in contact with the wall as well. He's lost some paintwork as he comes into the pits. As Selly comes round to inherit that position then in the Porsche 868 machine. Obviously a new feature they've introduced right now is you can create your own characters and names within the game now, can't you? Which is a nice feature.
Well, that's cool, yeah.
I'm not sure if it includes your own race numbers.
Are they're randomly chosen, are they? Race numbers?
No, so I think if you're if you've chosen a manufacturer livery, like I'm running on board now with AJ to the P, he's got the actual Bentley Motorsport livery there and race number. So that's the number 7 Bentley Motorsport machine.
Yeah.
I don't know if it's with the custom liveries you can have a custom number.
Oh, okay, yeah. That'll be it'll be quite good.
But right on board with AJ. Obviously Mazda just in front of him is a lap down in the Mercedes.
After pitting.
After picking up some damage, yes.
It's not the kindest track, is it?
It's certainly not. It's one mistake and you're out of the running pretty much.
Yeah. Mazda isn't green though for his pit stop. Have you noticed that?
Well, I've just noticed it now you said, Bailey.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's not good, especially if he's a lap down already. Not good at all.
And Johnny has picked up a stop and go penalty. So that will be for speeding in the pit lane. He would have either not reached the pit lane speed limit before entry, or he's come off his speed lane pit limiter before exit. So he's picked up a stop and go penalty there as Johnny in P9. So he was already a lap down on the front runners. He's going to be another lap down because he's got to make an extra pit stop for that stop and go penalty. As the race leader is coming around to complete lap 8. He's starting to make his descent down the mountain. We'll ride on board with the leader to close out this lap.
And for once, a Mercedes leading a race.
It is. We haven't had a Mercedes race winner either.
No.
And we haven't had a repeat winner at any SOP Motorsport event yet.
Which is amazing.
It is pretty remarkable, to be fair.
It is, yeah.
Considering some of the pace of these guys.
Yeah.
And
incredible.
And it does just go to show every driver has strengths and weaknesses.
Oh yeah.
I think Ampio, he was running in P4 last week.
Okay.
So he wasn't off the pace as such. He just wasn't as fast as the front podium positions. And he certainly wasn't in a Mercedes last week. I'm finding a lot of guys are definitely changing it up with car selection for the Bathurst event. As we ride on board again with AJ in the Bentley So AJ likes to stick with the Bentley. I believe AJ actually works for Bentley Motorsport.
Yeah, I think he's talked in the Discord chat.
Yeah, yeah.
You can join in the in the description.
But we do have Johnny serving his stop and go penalty. Hopefully he has learnt his lesson and he doesn't pick up another one exiting the pits. I'll have a ride on board with Hater Spray then in the BMW. Don't see many people choosing the BMW to race with.
It's an interesting car, isn't it? It's a nice it's nice to see, like we were talking about the Mercedes. You don't see many Mercedes, but I think just looking at the timing sheet and all the drivers, there's a lot of cars on there. There's not a lot of the same.
Yeah, that's right. There's only
it's very nice.
It's a nice selection of cars in today's race. I just think the BMW just hasn't got. It's just not like the strongest car in any field, so it just hasn't got the speed. It hasn't quite got the corner in.
Yeah.
So it just lacks that little bit of a. Basically, just lacks what every other car has. To be honest, you don't see many BMWs riding at the front of the field.
No, I'm talking about the front of the field. AJ to the P's got pressure from the Lamborghini driver.
Oh.
Stop.
Okay, we'll ride on board with AJ then. He's obviously made a mistake because he's dropped. Oh, he's coming into the pits.
Yeah.
He's obviously made a mistake because he did drop 10 seconds to the race leader. And he had GOP breathing down his neck then.
Yeah.
He doesn't look like he's picked up any damage anywhere though.
Maybe he's just gone, 20 minutes into the race and he's pitted.
He's definitely pitting. 39 minutes left of the race. That's an interesting one then. He was quite comfortable in P2. He had a nice gap to P3 and he was sort of in a race of his own. Ampio pulled out a 3-second gap to him. All he had to do was manage his own race pace. But that's given Ampio a 10-second gap then to the guys in front. Guys behind, should I say.
At the moment, my only wish is that when AJ leaves the pits, his pit board goes green. Yeah, there you go.
It does go green.
Thank the Lord.
So it's definitely not a glitch that we're experiencing with drivers.
No.
They're just not completing the requirements.
It's quite tight in the mountain. If you look at the map, there's a lot of cars. I'm not sure how many are actually fighting and how many
ride on board with the 888 Mazda. He is still a lap down, but he has got GOP and P2 closing in on him. Got Barbosa up into P8 in the Ferrari. The two Ferraris then running in formation, 7th and 8th. You got Cashadu had to make an early pit stop.
Good stuff.
But obviously he hasn't made that pit stop count. His pit stop board did not go green, so we will have to make another pit stop unfortunately.
What's more unfortunate is obviously if you get a green pit board, you get on with the race then. If you get more damage, you pit again. But if you do make the mistake and obviously you're mad at yourself, you're angry, you want to get that pit stop done because that will be your only pit stop most likely. So the fact that some of them haven't gone green it's just annoying really for the drivers, and I think they're not going to want to pit again, but they're going to have to, I think.
They have to pit, otherwise
they do,
otherwise they'll
get disqualified.
They'll just get disqualified at the end of the race.
It's not good, is it?
But basing it off race 1 then, AJ to the P has made his pit stop. He is on the fresh rubber.
Yeah.
Is he going to be? He was only 3 seconds behind Ampio before he made a mistake, which dropped him to 10 seconds back.
Big crash.
Who do I need to
Paul.
ride on board with?
Paulie in the Merc. Huge crash. He's gone straight ahead. He's gone straight off.
Oh.
But luckily he's rejoined now. In 12th, he can't keep the car straight. But,
I did see him all out of sorts coming out of turn 1 to start this lap.
Yeah, he was a back marker to one of the drivers. I can't really remember. I can't remember the car.
Definitely going very slow down the mountain.
Oh yeah.
He doesn't want to get in the way. Smith and Wesson get past cleanly.
Yeah.
Is he going to cause any more problems for anyone else? It doesn't look like there's anyone else close to him. Thank God.
Yeah. Yeah. I don't know why, but I seem surprised about the amount of crashes we're getting this race. Not this race, but just this track in general.
It is an unforgiving track. It only takes one error. There's no margin for mistakes here.
Not at all.
But we do have a big old battle going on here between... Oh, I just missed it. Mazda's the back marker, so you got GOP and Barbosa. So GOP's coming round to lap Barbosa and Mazda then. I don't think Barbosa knows he's a back marker. As he does duly move out the way and let GOP up the inside, but he does get it wide. Yeah. So Barbosa's back through. Blue flag's being waved everywhere.
That's sneaky there, because I mean that's something I would do. I'm not gonna lie. If there's a gap and you're just gonna take it, even if you are a back marker, you're still in a race at the end of the day. But I think it won't please the Lamborghini driver too much.
Well, the thing we got to be aware of is Mazda and Barbosa are racing for track position. They are in a battle of their own for P8 and P9, even though they have P2 just behind them. So obviously Barbosa isn't going to want to lose any time slowing down to let GOP through. And he is going to want to close in on the back of Mazda 917. We'll see what happens down the back straight. We'll stay on board with this action.
Have you got the stream next to you, Simon? Frank Lucid is asking, when is race 2 opening?
Right now.
Good.
Yep, race 3 is free practice is underway. Oh, sorry about that, ladies and gents. I just had to sort out race number 3, which will be streamed right after this race. We have 32 minutes remaining as we're riding on board with Mazda 917. What's happened with Barbosa and GOP? GOP has got past us. Barbosa hits the wall then. Barbosa touches the wall as he comes round turn 10 and he's in the gravel and he's a spinner. He's a spinner. Whoa, that's a big collision with the wall then for Barbosa.
And
not
the best place to... Yeah, that's how traffic jams are caused.
Yeah, exactly.
No one's behind.
Oh, he stopped right in the middle of the racetrack. Yeah. Wow, that was
what we were saying, weren't we, about split one? At the start you were saying how if anyone crashes in the top 5 it will cause absolute chaos for the guys behind.
Indeed, it would be absolute carnage if any of the top 5 had to come together on the opening lap, because everyone else behind would just become a massive train of collisions Barbosa's obviously picked up damage. He is going to have to pit again from that P9 position. We're right on board with Ampio. He's been unchallenged all race after AJ had a bit of a mistake earlier on. And to be fair, that Mercedes does look planted. Doesn't look wobbly, doesn't look like it's going to be out of sorts at all, does it?
Not at all, and I think they do look planted, don't they? The
it's a car that suits Bathurst.
Yeah.
That's the thing,
totally.
you know. It's got that drive to pull themselves out of the corners rather than having the rear end trying to spin on them. He's definitely found a good setup on that Mercedes. And he's 23 seconds ahead now with P2. Stefan in the Audi, because we do see drivers blink at the 30-minute mark. GOP and Sully in P3 and P4 into the pits then. They need to make these pit stops count. We don't want to see any more pit stop errors as AJ flashes past our screen.
Halfway through, keep it up.
As we stick with AJ then, he is the highest runner who's made a pit stop in P3. You got Stefan in P2 and AM in P1. But look how far ahead AMPO is. AJ's over half a lap behind.
Yeah,
So AJ must have spent ages in the pits then making
the pits,
repairs.
yeah. So Stefan has, or Stephen has pitted, but what do you think? Will AJ be able to do anything?
AJ's way too far back. It depends.
He's really far back.
AJ is pretty far back right now. He is motoring down the back straight.
Oh, okay, there we go then. That's not too bad. Number 7, yeah, you're right. He's not too far. He could be within a chance of proper fighting for the position now that they've been brought together. If the pit stop was longer than it normally should be, then maybe he could have got the jump. But AJ round in the final corner now, I think.
He is round in the final corner. He's just past the pit entry.
Yeah.
Stefan still hasn't moved from the pit box.
Wow.
So he does indeed inherit P2. Albeit
wow.
he's 53 seconds behind the race leader.
Wow.
So a pit stop will take 30 seconds roughly. It just depends.
It's quite a long time.
Very long. Yeah, very long time.
There's a battle for P7 Mazda. No. Yes.
We've got Barbosa, Mazda and Sully. Mazda looking for an outside move. He makes it stick. Barbosa gives him space. He is a back marker. He regathers himself. He almost lost the back end of that Mercedes.
Yeah. As we were talking about how planted they are. And
Indeed, yes. I think it didn't help. He was trying to overtake on the outside of a turn that you're not meant to overtake on the outside. Barbosa could have just given him a bit more space as a back marker.
More space as a back marker, yes. And Sully's looking to maybe benefit from this battle that's going on.
Indeed, Sully in P7 then. He is only 1.6 behind Mazda, but he's got Barbosa sandwiched in between himself and Mazda
after that, I don't think Barbosa's prepared to let people pass too easily.
No, indeed he's not. I mean, Barbosa's still got to complete a pit stop. Mazda's still got to complete a pit stop. And they're running neck and neck at the minute. Mazda and Barbosa. Even though they're shown as P6 and P10, they both still got to come into the pits. As does your race leader, Ampio. As we ride on board with the number 48 machine, the AMG Mercedes. Hasn't really been troubled from the beginning of this race. Was pulling away nicely from AJ. The gap was at about 2 to 3 seconds early on until AJ made a mistake. He had to come into the pits that lap to repair damages. As AMPO does come into the pit stop then, he got hater spray just in front of him then, so he would have had to slam on those brakes so he doesn't cause contact. Indeed he does. So AMPO is into the pits. Where is AJ? AJ is on the decline around that mountain then. Half a lap behind. He isn't going to be able to close that. He is too far back.
He might not be able to close it, but I'm sure 30 seconds time he'll be coming around the final corner.
I just think is it just depends how long AMPO is in the pit stop, but
yeah, whether it goes well.
Yeah, that's true. AMPO needs to clear his pit stop. He needs to go green. Oh, he can't. He's struggling. He's struggling to find his pit box.
Not connecting, is it?
Problems in the pits for AMPO then. He can't seem to get it right. AJ to the P is going to inherit the race lead at this rate.
He is. So you know when you moved back then, does that mean he hadn't even started?
It hasn't started. He hasn't engaged his pit stop yet. For some reason he can't engage his pit stop. He might have not.
Comes around the final corner.
He was 74 seconds behind.
Oh, and he's moving. Here we go.
There we go. He's completed his pit stop finally. He has gotten green, but AJ. Look at that. Wow, we were. AJ to the P inherits the race lead then from Ampio. We're going to have a battle on our hands, ladies and gentlemen.
Oh, we are.
With 23 minutes remaining, AJ must be counting his lucky chickens because he was 74 seconds down before Ampio had to make his pit stop. He couldn't get into his pit box properly, which has obviously delayed his pit stop, and he's lost over a whole minute. He is going to be on the fresher rubber.
Yeah, fresher rubber, possibly lower fuel depending on the...
But he has 4.4 seconds to make up.
4 seconds, that is incredible. AJ has done an outstanding job there.
Again, it's just a case of keeping it clean now.
Oh yeah.
AJ to the P comes over the skyline through the S's and down the dipper. That is the most lethal part of this racetrack. That is what catches people out the most. He comes down Forest Elbow onto the back straight, then he's got hater spray ahead of him. He is a back marker. He is going to be benefiting from that slipstream. 4.4 is still the gap between him and P2 AMPO. Stefan's running well in P3 in the Audi, and we've seen quite a change in the running order because Smith and Wesson up in P4 in the Porsche was down in P8 at halfway point in this race before the pit stop windows. GOP was running in P3. He's now dropped down to P5. You've got Mazda 917 20 seconds behind GOP then. Still hasn't completed his mandatory pit stop, so he's going to drop right down the field. You've got Sully in P7 in the Porsche. That 868 machine. The red, black and white livery as Paul gets it all wrong again. Is he going to cause problems for Sully? We're right on board with these two. Paulie is a back marker. Sully's trying everything to get past. Sully needs to be patient.
He has got the move
as
done.
he does get the move done, indeed. So tricky for back markers in that section of the racetrack.
Yeah.
We'll ride on board with Keshed in the lead Ferrari then. You got the Ferraris in P8 and P9 still. That's how they've been for most of the race. It's very much like a camo green, an army green, that Ferrari. The number 47 machine.
Yeah, it's like a matte, isn't it?
It's nice, very nice.
Yeah, very nice. There's a question for you, Simon, in the chat. Asks from Matthew saying, do the drivers have a pit lane closing time?
So we currently run a pit window that opens at the beginning of the race and does not close. So we haven't implemented any strict pit window for the simple reason of we want to bring variety to our races. So SOP Motorsports feel if we know everybody's got a pit between, I don't know, say 30 minutes and 20 minutes, they have a 10-minute window where they've got to make their pit stop. We know everybody's going to be in, we know everybody's going to be changing their tyres, we know everybody's going to be changing their fuel. It sort of gets predictable because we'll know everybody's going to be running the same type of fuel strategy, and it's just to bring a bit of variety to the races, to be honest, leaving the pit window open for everybody.
Yeah.
We have seen in previous races, because of this, that riders go from the first lap right to the very last lap until they make their pit stop, and it's very much a splash and dash 1 litre of fuel just to get them over the line. So it's nice just to have that variety in the pit stop phase.
Just to let you know, Simon, Hater Spray actually had a big off. I didn't notice it, but in the top corner I saw the yellow marker, and he's had such a big off that he's crawling to the pit lane by the looks of it. He,
so Hater Spray's been out of sorts in this race then in the BMW. I mean, he is showing, yeah, he is showing in P10, but the guys from P13, 12.
Oh, he stopped.
Yeah, he's just letting the field through, I think, unless he is just going to reset himself back to the pits. But I mean, the guys running outside of the top 8, they're all at least 2 laps down on everybody else now.
Yeah.
As someone has left the session. So we're left with 12 runners with 18 minutes to go. Who has left the session? I'm not too sure, but we'll ride back on board with AJ to the P then, because Ampio is closing that gap ever so slightly. It's down to 3.6 seconds.
GOP has left the session in the Lamborghini.
Oh no, he was running well. Why has GOP left the session for? The gap is coming down with 17 minutes remaining. Track temperature has risen slightly to 19 degrees. 3.3 is the gap. Visibly coming down now, you can see the gap between those two, AJ and Ampio. They're going to have a right old battle at the end of the race. Stephan's got that P3 secured 14 seconds further back, with Smith and Wesson in that pink and blue Porsche 911 machine.
Someone's asking if, sorry, GOP saying he's just been disconnected, so it's not.
Right. I mean, since the new patch has been released, there has been a problem with people getting disconnected in races.
Right.
I mean, between sessions, in the middle of races, we're seeing servers go offline for no apparent reason. So there's still a bit of work to do between ACC and G Portal to sort things out.
Yeah, I think so. quite a lot. The gaps between each driver now is quite big, but the gap that has taken my eyes is second and first. So AM has brought the gap down from 4 seconds, now it's 2.4 seconds.
Wow, he is closing rapidly, isn't he?
He is
in the space of one lap.
Mercedes. Yeah.
Second a lap he's closing.
It's crazy stuff.
So like we predicted, is he just that fresher rubber bringing him back in the race for the lead for the win? Is AJ going to be able to hold him off? 15 minutes remaining. As we do see Barbosa come into the pits. He obviously he's had a rough time as Barbosa in this race. He's had a few offs, but he has completed his mandatory pit stop now. So we are just...
that has is Mazda.
And I don't think he realises that he hasn't.
Yeah, which is not good.
Indeed, GOP, we are sorry that you got disconnected from the race. You were running in the top 5 positions. Everybody definitely spread out in this race now then. The battle is for the lead. 1.5 seconds is the gap. We're right on board with these two. AJ to the P, Ampio. AJ to the P finished second last week, so he is looking for his first win under SOP Motorsport events. Can he get it today?
Yeah, AJ shows, he's been showing some serious consistency, I think.
He is one of the most consistent drivers. I mean, he's consistent and he is improving his race pace. He finished P7 in his first outing, P2 in his second outing, and he's now leading the race today. He's pulled the gap back up to 2.2, so he would be aware that Ampio is trying to close in on him.
Oh yeah, two tenths he's gained on him since. 4 tenths now. The gap is now 2 seconds. White flag being waved, which is slow moving car, I thought.
It is indeed, but I can't see.
No,
must just be a bit further up the field. I'll ride on board with number 47. Let's see what's going on.
If the white flag was for AJ to the P, I think.
Well, if we look at the track map, we can see a red dot. That means someone has had an off with the wall or something of that kind.
The red dot is actually when you go on board with them.
Oh, indeed it is. Wow. That's different to qualifying then. That's different to qualifying.
Yeah, because like, when we were doing the last stream, and every time I was looking, I was thinking, hold on, CSX Isaac has hit the wall every time I've gone on board with him.
As we ride on board with the top two, 1.1 is the gap now, so Ampio is definitely stronger in the first half of this Bathurst circuit. He's closed the gap down to a second. AJ seems to have the legs in the second half, but not quite as drastic as Ampio is closing the gap. Is he going to be feeling the pressure? Is he going to be feeling the stress? Ampio in the Mercedes is going to be right on board with him with 10 minutes to go. And the problem is, I don't think AJ is going to be able to hold him off. There's just, you've got these two long straights where there's a lot of benefit of slipstream around here.
Yeah.
And AJ's coming into the pits again.
Oh no.
He doesn't need the pit.
No. He doesn't, does he?
Why is he coming into the pits?
No way.
Why is he losing? So AJ has effectively thrown away the race win then.
Yeah, and Stefan is gonna get him.
He is in at P2 then.
Oh no. And if he's not careful, it looks like Smith and Wesson is not too far. We've seen AJ jump people from that distance. He's moving now.
Yeah, I don't know what happened. Maybe he just didn't put enough fuel onto the race end. Maybe
yeah,
he's.
I was thinking the fuel because it's quite a quick pit stop. That.
Yeah. Maybe he just miscalculated how much fuel he needed on board from his earlier pit stop. Or does he think he can? He can't surely claw all that time back with 10 minutes to go on fresh rubber, can he? 21 seconds is the gap from P1 to P2, and then AJ's in P3 now. 51 seconds is the gap further behind with Smith and Wesson.
That's quite a big gap.
So there's a lot of these runners and riders, like we're saying, anyone outside of the top 8, more than 2 laps behind, 2 laps, 3 laps, 4 laps, 5 laps. Antonelli at the minute bringing up the rear. He was running as high as P5 early on in the green Aston Martin. He obviously had that massive crash coming out of turn 1. He collected Kershid for good measure, and he's found himself running out the rear of the field, having to make a pit stop for all those repairs. You got Paulie MCK in P11 in the Mercedes. Hater Spray in the BMW. Barbosa in P9 in the Ferrari, with the McLaren sandwich between himself and Kershid in the other Ferrari. The number 47 machine in your P7 then. He isn't too far behind Sully, and Sully isn't too far behind... Oh no, Sully's coming up to a back marker. 33 seconds behind is Sully to Mazda 917 then.
Yeah. Quite, and he still hasn't pitted, Mazda. Which can be
but AJ is only AJ is only 0.3 behind Stefan in P2 then. He's rapidly closed that gap.
Look at that. Maybe he's done something we don't know then.
He's got a
gone down the inside.
Oh, they are coming together. They both keep it on the tarmac.
Good stuff.
That could have easily ended both of their races.
Yeah, that doesn't end well normally. Does not end well. AJ's done a good recovery job there, even if he did pit for some reason. Maybe it was for a reason, but
look at that
gap. The gap to the lead that he had.
So Ampio then, even with that pit stop blunder where he lost over 75 seconds,
wow,
has found himself back into the lead because AJ's had to make a further pit stop. We can only gather it was for fuel because his pit board went green, which means he did take on fuel and tyres in his first pit stop. He must have just not fueled enough. But he has found his way back up to P2. Bit of a sketchy pass to get past Stefan. They had a little bit of a come together, but they do continue running. Smith and Wesson in P4 in the pink and blue Porsche. Mazda 917 is running P5, but he does have to make that pit stop. He does have a 36 second window to Sully in P6, so he could still come out in P5 if he makes a pit stop work. As we ride on board then with Kershid, a further 10 seconds behind Sully then. He's had a bit of a lonely race as Kershid. He hasn't really done anything wrong, but he's just been there by himself, plodding away, churning out the laps.
a lonely race, this one. Especially with only 12 runners. Made it a bit, not less interesting, but certainly not one of the ones to watch for any battles.
Yeah, we certainly wouldn't be able to make a highlight reel from this race. Unfortunately, some of those races are just like that. As I ride on
that livery, by the way, on the Ferrari of Kesher, very nice matte green, bit khaki green, very nice.
I will ride back on board with AJ for now. He's pulled a massive 5.2 second gap to Stefan, so as quickly as he got by him, he's quickly pulled away. He definitely won't be able to pull the gap down to Ampio then, who's coming around to start lap number 26. 5 minutes remaining in this race.
Lovely stuff from the Mercedes driver. And AJ to the P's done quite a good job there to just basically leg it from the Audi.
Indeed, again, yeah, it's a case of unless he did put on new boots as well. He was coming into the pit stop.
And by the looks of it, I mean, that gap was 32 seconds, it's now 30 seconds.
I mean, Ampio in the Mercedes has always had the measure of AJ to the P at Bathurst today. He did pull out, he was running 3 seconds in the lead before AJ made that little mistake early on. And he's now just got to bring it home with 4 minutes and 30 seconds remaining. AJ to the P then, lovely camera angle there, helicopter cam, climbing his way back up the mountain. So whilst we have a bit of downtime then, guys, 4 minutes remaining, the cars are all spread out. I'd just like to tell you all about what we've got coming up on Thursday the 10th of September. We have our first endurance race, 1.5 hours of Silverstone. This event is sponsored by Coach Dave's Academy. All links to our social media, Twitter, Facebook, Coach Dave Academy website. You can find all those links in our descriptions below. We have 2 races from the 1.5 hours at Silverstone. Race 1 is from 7 PM, race 2 is from 9 PM. We'll see 40 runners and riders battle it out for some Coach Dave Academy prizes. 2 lucky competitors will see themselves bag a track bundle, a map track bundle, and a complete car setup bundle of their choice, which are fantastic prizes, I must say. I wouldn't mind being in one of those races myself. But we're right back on board with the leader then, 2 minutes and 40 seconds remaining. Ampio is pretty much led from start to finish, apart from his little pit stop blunder early on. 27 laps complete. Hasn't really been challenged. AJ to the P there in a lonely second place. Stefan is your final podium position. He's got 15 seconds on Smith & Wesson. I believe this is Smith & Wesson's first event.
Good drive from him too.
Yeah, he should be happy with P4.
Absolutely. I don't know what it is, but everywhere I look there seems to be white flags waving.
The thing is, there's going to be so many cars out of position now.
Yeah, that's true.
There's going to be cars 2 laps, 3 laps down.
6 laps.
Yeah, everybody's going to be out of position, so there's going to be white flags waving for everybody. I mean, if we go on board with AJ,
Right, man, the leader is on the final lap.
he's already coming back round now to lap the back markers.
Yeah.
And that's going to be the case for everybody around the track. Everyone's going to be coming up against some back marker of some form. But we will finish this race on board with Ampio, your race leader. He is on his final lap. 28 laps will be complete as he crosses the line.
Incredible drive really from Mercedes driver. As much as it's been a quiet race, he's not the easiest.
No, I mean, on track he hasn't...
yellow flag. Sorry, 17. PTX went off then, crashed into the wall.
PTX Barbosa, number 17.
Yeah. Got back up to speed quite quickly, but doesn't look like the car's planted. Yeah, but
his car must have some magnets planted in them, because he's visited the wall a couple of times in today's race. But back on board with the leader to close out the race. Antonelli does indeed move out the way.
AJ to the piece pitted.
Pitted again? What's gone wrong?
That's a pit reset, that is. That's not... Surely that's not pitting. That means he's third. What on earth? Yeah, he's third.
Strange scenes then from AJ to the P's. What's that? And he's lost it again. Something must have gone wrong. Something's definitely gone wrong with AJ, because
this could be a technical issue with a wheel or a controller he's tried to sort out.
That's definitely uncharacteristic for him to be in and out the pits and all over the place like that.
Yeah, that's not good at all. And AM Pierre just rounding the final corner to win. An incredible drive as he flashes the lights on Mercedes.
So that is going to round out and finish race 2, guys. It looks like Stefan's going to pick up your P2 in the Audi.
And Smith
and Wesson
has got
unlikely P3. I must say, he was quite far away from the leaders today. But AJ, to close out the race, has just got it all wrong.
I'm sure we'll hear about that.
But we are seeing a lot of these runners and riders already have the checkered flag because of how many laps down they are. You've only got 5 runners and riders left to finish the race. And we have race 2 quali looking spicy, Chris Jones says in the chat. We will be jumping over to the final race of the evening very shortly, and we will pick up the action for that race. I believe that is a full grid for the final race of the evening.
Oh, brilliant. Awesome.
As AJ does come across the line to take that P4 position. So again, thank you everybody for tuning in for race 2 of the evening. We will end the stream there and we will jump over to race 3 and see you on the other side.
See ya.